You've arrived at your first formulation lesson, and I could not be more excited for you. Now that you know how to create your natural formulation philosophy and you know which tools you need to get started, in this episode, you're going to learn how to make a natural lotion in a matter of minutes. Honestly, it's so easy. You can do this too. A whole world will open up to you as soon as you realize that the mainstream beauty industry has been telling you for decades that this is a really complicated scientific subject. And yet, in this short lesson, I'm going to dispel that myth for you by showing you how to make the base of a facial cream with just a water bath, 2 beakers, a set of scales, a thermometer, and a mini whisk. That's all. It's that simple. And then in lesson 5, we're going to make your cream base botanical by adding a couple of exquisite plant extracts to it, which will also give it color and fragrance, as well as beneficial skin properties. And then by lesson 7, we're going to preserve your cream so that it's safe to use. I'm going to break it down for you really simply so that we can cover these steps together one by one, and so that you can see that making your first face cream is fun, easy, and empowering. Before we start though, I have a confession to make. I know that I said all of our lessons in this masterclass were going to be no more than 10 minutes, but this one is ever so slightly longer because of all of the formulation teaching that you'll receive for free. I've got so much to cover and I'm so excited to share this with you, so I hope you'll give me a couple of extra minutes today. So we're going to make what is called an emulsion. Emulsions are found everywhere in the cosmetics world because they feel more hydrating on the skin as they can penetrate slightly further into the skin's upper layers. Your face cream, your body lotion, your hand cream, your eye cream, your conditioner, your cream cleanser, these are all emulsions, which means that they're creams consisting of a blend of oil and water, 2 ingredients that don't want to mix together but have been brought together with the help of an ingredient called an emulsifier. And just to demonstrate to you what I mean, I'm going to take this beaker of water and I'm going to pour a small amount of almond oil on top of it. You'll see that the oil instantly separates out and floats on top of the water. I can stir it, I can shake it, I can churn it, but these 2 ingredients will not blend together unless I add an emulsifier. Without getting too deep into the science, an emulsifier is a molecule that has a tail that loves water and a head that loves oil. And it can then connect the 2 together to become an emulsion, which we also know as a cream or a lotion. It's so cool and so easy to do. But despite emulsions being everywhere, natural emulsification is still a skill that terrifies many formulators because it's viewed as such an advanced process. In fact, to many untrained formulators, emulsification seems a bit like a dark art, which is why I'm going to show you how simple it is. We could have chosen a 2-ingredient body oil to get you started, but I wanted us to tackle something that seems really scary, but actually isn't. So you can see that even if this is really easy and achievable, then you'll know that I'm right when I say that everyone can formulate. So, it's time to formulate. Are you ready? Welcome to the Formula Botanica Formulation Lab. We're going to get started with our formulation. Make sure that you have your workbook to hand so that you can fill in the blanks while you watch this episode. You may even want to watch it twice, once to see the process and once you have your ingredients, once to follow along. Now, let me walk you through everything I've got here. Firstly, I'm using a hot plate because I'm not in my kitchen, but you could do this on a stove very easily, so don't worry about that. On top of that hot plate, I've got a water bath, which you could again easily do with a glass bowl over a pan of water. I've heated the water bath to 75 degrees Celsius and I have my thermometer here to measure the temperature of the ingredients in both of my beakers. Really simple, right? So just to recap, I've got a hot plate, a water bath and a thermometer. I'll also be using 2 glass beakers, 2 glass rods, a mini whisk and a set of scales. That's it. This is how all of our students start as well. So I've got two beakers here, one which contains sweet almond oil, which is a beautiful carrier oil that's created by pressing almonds to squeeze all of the oil out. I've weighed out 15 grams of almond oil. It feels really light on the skin and it's fairly neutral in colour and fragrance. But we've mainly chosen it because it's easy to find in pretty much all countries around the world. My other beaker here contains neroli hydrosol. I've weighed out 73.5 grams of hydrosol. I know that's a very specific number, and that's because we'll be adding more ingredients in lessons 5 and 7 to make a total of 100 grams of emulsion. So don't worry about anything for now. Neroli is the name for orange blossom when it's extracted by steam distillation from the flowers of the bitter orange tree. A hydrosol is a fragrant flower water that's produced when distilling essential oils. So much water comes out of the distillation process, and it's fragrant and it contains botanical compounds. Neroli hydrosol smells heavenly. It's just beautiful. I wish you could smell it. We've chosen it for your masterclass formulation because our whole face cream is going to have an orange theme, but I'll tell you more about that in lesson 5. And then finally, here I have 6 grams of the emulsifier I'm going to use, which is called Vegetal. That's its trade name, but all cosmetic ingredients also have a scientific name called an inky name. Don't worry, I'll explain all of this in lesson 4 tomorrow. So although the trade name for this emulsifier is Vegetal or Montanov 68, its scientific name, its inky name, is cetearyl alcohol and cetearyl glucoside. These are 2 chemical compounds that are derived from plant material and blended together in a lab to create this emulsifier. Using our classification system from lesson 1, this is the perfect example of a naturally derived ingredient. Vegetal is very easy to work with, which is why I've chosen it today. I want to show you just how simple it is to make a natural lotion. Before we get started, I just want to add that if you can't get hold of these 3 ingredients, I'm going to walk you through alternatives in lesson 8 once we've finished making the emulsion, so don't worry. Now, let's make the first stage of our emulsion. We're going to make 100 grams of lotion or emulsion across the lessons in this masterclass, and I'm going to walk you through it step by step. I've already weighed out 73.5 grams of neroli hydrosol, 15 grams of almond oil, and 6 grams of Vegetal, our emulsifier. That means we're going to make a lotion base that totals 94.5 grams in this lesson. And then in lessons 5 and 7, we'll be adding the botanicals and the preservative to get the total weight up to 100 grams. We'll send you the full formulation once we've finished lesson 7. So the equipment has been set up and the ingredients have been prepared. Using the water bath, we're going to gently warm the ingredients because this particular emulsifier works with heat. It wouldn't work if all of the ingredients were left cold, although there are some cold process emulsifiers, just not this one. And we chose this one because it's easy to find in or ship to most countries. And we always have tens of thousands of students go through this masterclass with you. So we're using cosmetic ingredients that are easy to find from any of the hundreds of online cosmetic ingredient suppliers worldwide. I've added the 6 grams of Vegetal pellets to the almond oil in this beaker here, and I've added the neroli hydrosol to this beaker here. Both beakers have been preheated to 75 degrees Celsius in our water bath so that we can get straight to the fun part. And one top tip to remember is that because our water phase, so the beaker that contains the hydrosol, is so much bigger than our oil phase, the beaker that contains the oil and emulsifier, I gave the water phase a head start in the water bath so that the contents in both beakers roughly reach the same temperature at the same time. We're now going to make a simple, stable, natural emulsion. First of all, I'm going to measure the temperature in both beakers to check that they're ready to blend together to create our natural emulsion. As you can see, the ingredients in both beakers have now reached 75 degrees Celsius. You can see it here on the thermometer. So I'm going to pour the oil and emulsifier in this beaker into the neroli hydrosol in this beaker to blend the two together. So I'm pouring them together very slowly. And you can see that I'm using a mini whisk, which has been sanitized beforehand, so that I can stir the two liquids together to create the emulsion. I'm doing this in our water bath because the emulsifier needs the heat to blend the oil and water together. And don't worry if it's not exactly 75 degrees, just try to hit 75 as a minimum, and then anywhere up to 77 or 78 is fine. I'm whisking vigorously because I want to make sure that the oil and water come together properly. You can now see the lotion starting to slowly form. I'm going to continue stirring it for a minute or so until I'm sure that it's combined properly. Now that the emulsion has combined together, I'm going to remove the beaker and place it in a cool water bath so that I can continue stirring for a little while. Again, I'm stirring vigorously to make sure that the oil and water phases are fully combined as the lotion cools down. You can, however, already see that the lotion has been emulsified and it's starting to thicken as it cools. And that's it! You see how simple it is to make a natural emulsion? I made a lotion in just a few minutes. Wasn't that easy? And that's the main reason why I've shown you how to make an emulsion. It's because people always think emulsification is really hard. I could have made a facial oil with 2 ingredients. I could have made a lip balm with 3 ingredients. But I made an emulsion to show you that even a formulation that people think is hard really isn't. So 3 ingredients, just a few straightforward tools, and I now have the base of a face cream in my hands. It feels amazing on the skin and already has a gorgeous scent of orange blossom. If you can do this in just a few minutes, imagine what you can do once you become an organic skincare formulator. Together we've now run through the steps required to make your own face cream base, and I've shown you that organic skincare formulation is easy. But I'm sure you realise that making a simple emulsion is not enough. If you want your formulations to be truly effective on the skin, you've got to incorporate botanical extracts. And that's why in the next episode, we're going to look at how you should research your ingredients to choose the right botanicals for your skincare formulations. Then in the following lesson, we'll be taking this emulsion and turning it into a botanical face cream using sea buckthorn, papaya and sweet orange before preserving the whole lotion in less than 7. Soon you'll have this finished cream on your bathroom shelf that you can use safely over a period of 6 to 12 months. So make sure you watch the next lesson because that one can make the difference between a boring skincare product filled with inactive ingredients and a formulation that actually works. So I want you to have a go now. Grab your oil, your hydrosol and your emulsifier, make your own lotion base and complete the activities in your workbook for today. I'll see you in the next episode.